Thank you for watching this video. This is my update on my breast milk preservation in resin. This is my second round of experimenting. I preserved the milk in Optifin Plus. I cooked it and did a couple other things with it. You can check that out on my blog. I'll post the link. But I let it sit in the deep freeze for 1 year, and I just took it out yesterday, put it in resin, so I wanted to share my results with you. This is the milk 1 year later, out of the freezer, fresh out of the freezer. So you can see the little beads that I preserved it in. That's just the innards of a diaper. I wanted to experiment and see if that would help to absorb some of the liquid, to help solidify it in the process. And so I'll show you my results based on that. Sorry for the light here. Let's see if I can get that to work. There we go. It seems to have retained its color from whenever I first preserved it, which is great. Okay, so let's move on to my results. Let's start out with what I consider a failure. I went on ahead and I preserved just the scrapings from the bottom of the saucepan, the residue. And I just stirred it inside the resin here. So you can still see all the big bubbly bumps in there too. You can definitely see them in there. My experience with this has been that those will yellow significantly over time. It's kind of neat to see the little, beads in there, how they settled at the bottom and everything. However, I'm not a fan of that look. I would prefer a more smooth, milky look rather than the chunky look. Okay, next up. If you're curious where I got these molds, I got them off of Amazon. They're just jewelry molds, little silicone molds. So this one was nice. It's a little more of a cloudy effect to it. You can see a little bit of settling there at the bottom. Don't mind that. That was just a sparkle from my last project. This one settled a lot as well. These are definitely more of the look that I was going for, more of a cloudy look. I think these shapes would be really great for earrings or for a necklace. They're just the perfect little size. Okay, and then I have these more flat ones here. It's a nice little cloudy effect that we have. You can see the puffiness and almost the texture of the milk, and that is due to the beads that I put in it for the dry diaper to help absorb it. So you can understand where that comes from now. Okay, that one's nice. That one turned out real good. As far as I can tell, the color of the milk was not altered whenever I preserved them here in resin. My milk was very white whenever I put it in here, so it still remained white upon preservation. Mama. Hold on, please, baby. Thank you. So right here, this one was really nice. I think this one's probably my favorite because it looks the smoothest. And I think you really could do a lot with that if you were to maybe make a little indentation in the resin. Like you pour the resin inside the mold and you let it harden up just a little bit. If you let it harden up inside the mold for a little while and then you make maybe just a little indentation in there, I think that you could just drop a little bit of this in there and it'll make a nice, perfectly round little bead. I think that would be perfect. And one thing to note, whenever I was mixing the milk with resin before I added it into here, the amount of resin that you add affects how solid it is. So the less resin you add to the milk, it was more like I want to say kind of like a runny Play-Doh. It was really kind of thick. But then obviously the more resin I added, it became a lot smoother. I found also though, when I added a lot of resin to this, it just kind of helped it separate even more whenever it solidified, if that makes sense. So I was not a huge fan of putting a lot of resin in with them. It's kind of a nice little effect. Kind of looks like quartz to me, and I think that would be a nice little way to market that. Very, very pretty. And this is just a big like paperweight that I thought I'd do just to see how big I could make it. You really, really don't need a whole lot of milk. I think maybe in this one I might have used half a tablespoon of my preserved milk inside here. So a little bit goes a really long way, which is fabulous if you're not working with a big sample. It's really hard to photograph. There we go. It's kind of a nice way to see it. I just love that look, how cloudy it is. So those are my results. If you have any questions, be sure to ask. Everything that I have documented is on my blog, and you can read it and check out my prior experience, my prior experiments, and how that experience didn't really work out very well.